All right, you ready to dive into some Premier League action? We're going deep on Matchday 19 today.
Some really interesting stuff. It seems like you've got a real mix of matches in your stack this time.
Yeah, I wanted to get your take on a few of those shockers, see if we can figure out what happened.
Well, let's see what you've got. Looks like you've provided a PDF called premierleague.pdf. It's a pretty thorough collection of podcast transcripts breaking down all the games from that match day.
Yeah, I'm looking for more than just like a basic recap,
Yeah.
I really want to dig into the tactics and the impact these results had on the league.
I hear you. So you really want to understand what was going on behind the scenes, like how Newcastle managed to completely shut down Manchester United.
Exactly. Or like, what was behind Liverpool just exploding against West Ham? It was incredible to watch, but I need to know more.
5 goals. Yeah, that was something else. But before we jump into the specifics, can we just step back for a second? What made Matchday 19 so special, would you say?
Yeah, good point. Set the scene for us.
Well, I think the biggest thing was the sheer number of upsets. Some really unexpected results that really shook things up. And on the other side, you had these powerhouse performances, just incredible displays of skill and strategy.
All right, so which matches are we talking about specifically?
Let's see, we've got Brentford versus Arsenal, Manchester United against Newcastle, Aston Villa facing Brighton, Leicester City taking on Manchester City, Crystal Palace battling Southampton, Everton's match with Nottingham Forest, Fulham versus Bournemouth, Tottenham against Wolves.
Okay, so pretty much the whole match day then.
Right, and then of course we can't forget the two big ones that everyone's talking about, West Ham versus Liverpool, and that incredible Ipswich Town victory over Chelsea.
Yeah, that Ipswich Town win was a real shocker. I mean, Chelsea are supposed to be one of the top teams. What happened there?
Right, total underdogs. But they pulled off a stunning 2-0 victory. And it wasn't just luck either. They had a game plan, executed it perfectly, and Chelsea just couldn't find an answer.
It almost felt like Chelsea were struggling even before the match started.
Right.
Like something was off.
You might be onto something there. The transcripts I looked at suggest that Chelsea's attack just wasn't clicking, and Ipswich's defense, solid as a rock, they really shut Chelsea down.
Wow, so Ipswich took advantage of those struggles, huh?
Oh, absolutely. Liam Delap and Omari Hutchinson with the goals, and suddenly the Premier League landscape is looking a lot different.
You're right. That result definitely sent shockwaves through the league. And speaking of surprises, how about Newcastle shutting out Manchester United? That was another one nobody saw coming.
You know, it's funny. That Newcastle victory, it wasn't about luck. It was pure tactical discipline, exploiting weaknesses and capitalizing on those opportunities.
Okay, but how do you completely shut down a team like Manchester United? They've got so much firepower up front.
Well, from what I gathered from the transcripts, Newcastle had a very specific defensive formation. They basically clogged up the midfield, forced Manchester United out wide, and didn't give their playmakers any space to breathe.
So it was more than just parking the bus, right? It sounds like they were really thinking strategically.
Exactly. And it worked. Callum Wilson capitalized on a defensive error to get that first goal for Newcastle, and then to seal the deal. A classic counterattacking goal, finished off by Miguel Almiron.
It's like they were reading Manchester United's playbook and knew exactly how to shut them down.
They exposed those vulnerabilities for sure. And with that win, well, let's just say Newcastle is making a serious statement. They're in the running for a Champions League spot now.
Wow, talk about a power move.
Yeah.
All right, so we've covered the upsets, but let's shift gears and talk about some of the matches where we saw real tactical masterclasses. Arsenal's 3-1 win against Brentford seems like a great place to start.
Oh, yeah. Arsenal was on fire that day. Such a display of attacking prowess and, that tactical discipline we were just talking about.
Yeah, their high press was something else. It seemed like Brentford just couldn't get anything going.
Right. It completely disrupted them. But you got to remember, it wasn't just about running around like crazy. They had a plan. They targeted Brentford's key playmaker, forced him into bad decisions, cut off passing lanes, and basically shut down their midfield.
So it's almost like Arsenal had an extra man in midfield just from how effectively they were pressing.
Exactly. And that opened things up for Arsenal's attacking trio. Gabriel Jesus, Mikel Merino, and Gabriel Martinelli. Each of them found the back of the net, showing off their individual skills and how well Arsenal's game plan was working.
So what about Brentford? Did they just get completely outclassed?
Well, they did manage to pull one back, Brian Mbeumo, with an amazing solo effort, a real flash of brilliance, It reminded everyone that Brentford can be a real threat going forward. But in the end, Arsenal just had too much momentum, especially in that second half, with goals from Merino and Martinelli.
So Arsenal came in with a plan, executed it perfectly, and walked away with the win. It really does seem like they're becoming a serious contender this season.
They're definitely a team to watch. This match just solidified their potential. Speaking of contenders, we can't forget about Liverpool's 5-0 demolition of West Ham.
Oh man, that was a match that had everyone talking. 5 goals. What was the key to that offensive explosion?
It was just pure attacking football at its finest. High press, precise passing, chance after chance. West Ham simply couldn't keep up with the pace, the power, and the relentless pressure.
They were definitely firing on all cylinders that day.
Yeah.
What did the transcript say about their performance?
Fluid movement, clinical finishing, just an incredible ability to exploit any space in that final third. They were unstoppable.
Who were the key players in that goal fest?
Well, you had Luis Diaz, Cody Gakpo, Mohamed Salah, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and Diogo Jota all getting on the score sheet. It was a real team effort, everyone contributing to that win.
Wow, that's an impressive lineup of goal scorers. It's clear that Liverpool is still a force to be reckoned with, even with some of the challenges they've faced this season.
For sure. Now, before we get too caught up in Liverpool's dominance, how about we take a look at some of the other matches? Aston Villa's draw against Brighton, for example. What do you remember about that one?
Yeah, that was a close one, wasn't it? I remember it being back and forth with some pretty fantastic goals on both sides.
You're right, a real nail-biter. Ended up in a 2-2 draw, but it could have easily gone either way.
I'd love to hear more about that match.
Sure, let's break it down. Aston Villa versus Brighton. Oh yeah, that one was a roller coaster. Both teams really going for it, attacking football all the way.
Yeah, from what I remember, it was a pretty even match, back and forth with some amazing goals.
Totally. So Ollie Watkins gets Aston Villa off to a flying start, right? Clinical finish, but then Brighton comes right back at them. Kaoru Mitoma with the equalizer.
Yeah, and then what? It was Evan Ferguson who put Brighton ahead, John.
Yeah. In the second half, another great goal. But just when you think Brighton's going to run away with it, Douglas Luiz steps up for Aston Villa. Stunning equalizer. Brought the game right back level.
So what was the big takeaway? Tactically speaking, what made this draw so interesting?
Well, I think you saw real tactical flexibility from both sides. Aston Villa was lethal on the counterattack, using their speed and directness to create those chances.
And Brighton.
Brighton, on the other hand, they were all about that patient build-up play, intricate passing, trying to unlock Aston Villa's defense.
It's fascinating how two very different approaches can still result in such a balanced match.
That's the beauty of the Premier League, right? You see all these different styles, and it often comes down to who can execute their plan better on the day.
So more than just individual brilliance, then.
Right. It wasn't just about flashy plays. This match was about tactics, about teamwork, and both teams deserve credit for their performance.
Okay, so let's move on to Manchester City's 2-0 victory over Leicester City. That one seems a bit more predictable considering how dominant City have been this season.
It might seem straightforward on paper, but there's always more to it than meets the eye. Manchester City definitely controlled the game, but Leicester City didn't just roll over.
What did they do to try and disrupt Manchester City?
Well, it looks like they went with a deep defensive block, trying to frustrate City and hit them on the counter. And for a while, it seemed like it might actually work. City really struggled to break them down in that first half.
But I'm guessing City found a way through eventually.
Of course. Who else but Savinho to break the deadlock? Perfect shot placement, just showcasing his incredible talent and how City can find a way even against the toughest defenses.
And then you got Erling Haaland, who seems to score in just about every match.
I know, right? The guy's a machine. It's almost unfair how easily he finds space in the box and then finishes with such precision. That header from the corner kick, textbook Haaland, just sealed the deal for City.
It sounds like even when Manchester City aren't playing their best, they still find a way to win.
Yeah, they've got this knack for grinding out those results, even when they're not playing their most beautiful football. It's a testament to their mentality, to their depth of talent,
Okay, up next we've got Crystal Palace's 2-1 win over Southampton. Another close one, by the looks of it.
It was. This match really highlighted the importance of set pieces and those individual moments of brilliance. Crystal Palace scored first off a well-executed set-piece routine. Trevoh Chalobah with the finish.
And Southampton, how did they respond?
Tyler Dibling got the equalizer, taking advantage of a defensive slip-up. So, yeah, it was pretty evenly matched for a while there.
But then Crystal Palace pulled ahead again.
Yep. Ebereki Esso with a stunning winning goal, incredible dribbling skills, and so much composure in front of the net.
Sounds like that one could have gone either way, too.
Absolutely. Both teams had their chances, but Crystal Palace just made the most of theirs and held strong defensively to get the win.
All right, let's talk about Nottingham Forest's win over Everton. 2-0. It was a big surprise. Everyone had Everton as the favorites.
Yeah, no one saw that coming. But Nottingham Forest, they were all about tactical discipline and efficiency.
So how did they pull it off? What was their approach?
They went with a deep defensive block, basically daring Everton to break them down. And it worked like a charm. Everton struggled to create anything clear-cut, mostly just long-range efforts and hopeful crosses.
So they were happy to just sit back and absorb the pressure.
Yeah, but it wasn't passive,
Mm.
you know? They were organized, disciplined, and always ready to spring forward when the chance came.
Is that how they got their first goal?
Exactly. Chris Wood finishing off a swift counterattack, showing that clinical edge.
And in the second goal.
Morgan Gibbs-White, a real moment of brilliance. Cut inside and curled a shot right into the top corner. Unstoppable.
So Nottingham Forest didn't just defend well. They also knew how to take their chances when they got them.
Yeah, that efficiency on both ends of the pitch was the key, limiting Everton's opportunities and making the most of their own. A well-deserved victory, for sure.
Okay, ready for another draw. This time it's Fulham versus Bournemouth, also ending 2-2. It seems like a lot of these matches were really tight.
This one was another wild ride. Goals, drama, you name it. Some fantastic individual performances, too.
What about the goals? Give me the rundown.
Fulham struck first, Raul Jimenez with a classic striker's finish. Right place, right time, tapped it right in. But then Bournemouth answers back in style. Evan Nelson picks up the ball outside the box, weaves through defenders, and fires it into the top corner. What a goal.
Sounds like it had a bit of everything, this match.
It did. Tactical battles, individual brilliance, a real fight for every inch of that pitch. Dango Patara puts Bournemouth ahead in the second half, another great goal, but Fulham just wouldn't give up. Harry Wilson, fantastic free kick, curls it over the wall right into the net. Goalkeeper had no chance. Just pure magic.
Okay, last but not least, another 2-2 draw. Tottenham Hotspur and Wolverhampton Wanderers, another one that went right down to the wire.
This match really showed the fighting spirit of both sides. Tottenham took the lead twice, first with Rodrigo Bentancur, great goal, and then again with Brennan Johnson. The guy's got speed and finishing ability, that's for sure. But Wolves, they just wouldn't go away.
How did they claw their way back? What did the transcript say about their performance?
Well, Hwang Hee-chan and Jacob Larsson both scored some cracking goals. Real quality, showing Wolves' determination to get something out of this match. It could have gone either way, honestly. A draw felt fair in the end.
It does seem like a lot of teams had trouble holding on to leads this match day.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe it's a sign that the Premier League's getting even more competitive, harder to dominate your opponent for the full 90 minutes.
That makes sense. Definitely makes for an exciting league to follow. Okay, so we've covered all 10 matches from match day 19. Ups and downs, tactical brilliance, and a whole lot of goals. What are your final thoughts?
This match day really encapsulates what makes the Premier League so great. The tactical innovation, the individual brilliance, and that never give up attitude. It's a league where anyone can beat anyone on any given day, and that's what keeps us coming back for more.
I couldn't agree more. Before we wrap up, though, I want to go back to those two incredible upsets, especially Ipswich Town's win over Chelsea. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. What did they do tactically to achieve something so remarkable?
Ipswich Town's win. Oh, it was a textbook example of how to play the underdog role. Tactical discipline, taking their chances. It was brilliant.
It sounds like they had a real game plan, not just getting lucky.
Oh, yeah. They definitely did their homework. From what I saw in the transcripts, they focused on that defensive solidity, a tight, organized block that just frustrated Chelsea's attack.
So Chelsea couldn't get anything going.
Exactly. Chelsea likes to play through the middle, intricate passing, all that. But Ipswich forced them out wide where they're less dangerous and just shut down those scoring opportunities.
So they basically took away Chelsea's biggest strength.
Exactly. Chelsea kept running into that wall of Ipswich defenders, forced into those low percentage shots and crosses. Masterful defending, really.
But they also scored 2 goals. Right. Against a team that's usually pretty tough defensively.
Right, and that's the thing. Ipswich was so efficient on the counterattack, they'd soak up the pressure and then, bam, hit Chelsea on the break. Both goals came from those quick counters, Liam Delap and Amari Hutchinson, showing their speed and composure in front of goal.
So they turned their underdog status into an advantage.
Exactly. They took what most people saw as a weakness and flipped it, turned it into a strength. It was a tactical victory, one that a lot of teams will be studying, trying to learn from.
This has been an incredible deep dive. I mean, match day 19 had it all. Upsets, tactical battles, some truly unforgettable moments. But before we go, I have to ask, what does all of this tell us about the bigger picture of the Premier League this season?
I think what we're seeing is a real shift in the landscape. The traditional hierarchy, it's being challenged. Teams like Newcastle, like Ipswich Town, they're showing that with the right approach, with that belief, they can take on anyone.
So are we going to see even more surprises as the season goes on?
Oh, I'd say that's a safe bet. The Premier League is getting more competitive, more unpredictable, which is great for fans like you. Every match has the potential for drama, for upsets, for those moments of
I
brilliance.
can't wait to see what happens next. This has been amazing. Thanks for walking me through it all.
My pleasure. And remember, the best insights. You discover those yourself. Keep analyzing, keep questioning, and enjoy the beautiful game.
That's great advice. And for all of you listening, keep those stacks coming. We'll be back soon with another deep dive, breaking down all the action and exploring those tactical nuances that make the Premier League the best in the world.